Can you all hear me?
Yes. Yes.
I can hear you, Sunil. Krishnan here.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you send the password also so we can join on our computer instead of the phone?
Okay, hold on.
Because the password is in this long hexadecimal thing, right? It's
Hold on.
on.
There's a YouTube live that's also. Hold on, let me stop. You said you wanted this one, right? Password.
Yes.
Okay.
The shorter version of the password.
So you cannot join without a password?
I've joined on the phone, but I'm not able to put the password on the computer.
Oh, it's asking for password?
Yes.
Oh.
Because it has that, the password comes as a code. If you see your invite, it's that long hexadecimal.
Yeah. Hold on.
It translates the actual passcode to that.
It's there, right? PWD is there. Like, isn't? See, I just posted. Can you see that?
Yeah, so that password is built in. Okay.
Yeah. You should be able to join through there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on the phone, so I'm good. And yeah.
See if you can join on that one.
I don't have WhatsApp on my computer, but
Or also, hold on, let me share the thing here. But if you join on YouTube, you cannot interact. So
yeah, not YouTube. I meant on the computer.
yeah.
If you have something to share, it'll be easier to see on the computer than on the phone.
Yes. Can you join now on the desktop?
No, because I haven't. I don't have WhatsApp on the desktop to click from. Yeah. I can forward it to myself in the email, and I should be able to
But
join.
here it does show PWD and the whole length. So
Yeah. You can see Karthik's note there. Yeah, I can. I think I can email it to myself, and I'll do that. 1 sec. You go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see. Okay, I'm copying the full invite, so that way you can see its meeting ID and passcode is there in that one. Let's give it a couple of minutes. Can you join now on on desktop? I shared the full thing.
Oh, right. Okay, now I should be able to join. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, I see that you joined on desktop also.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Let's start. I know people will trickle in. As you, and I think this is after COVID. When we moved from virtual to the classes, in-person classes, I think this is probably the first time after that we are meeting virtually. Right. So let's start with the prayer. Repeat after me. Om Vyam Veda Vyasaya Namah. Om Yam Veda Vyasaya Namah. Om Yam Veda Vyasaya Namah. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada.
Om Darshanina
Om Rishabham Charshanina Vishwarupam Adabhyam Brihaspatim Varenyam. Om.
Narayanam
No. Narayanam is who's saying that mantra?
Shanteri.
Nice. Narayanam is for, because it's the first, it's the Mangala Shloka of Mahabharata.
Okay.
So for this one we use the mantra from the Upanishad itself. Urdhvam pranam unnayati apanam pratyagasyati madhye vamanamasinam vishve devaha upasate. Om. So before starting the Upanishad, we need to know the Devata of the Upanishad, the Rishi of the Upanishad, and the Chandas. So who can tell me all the three? Who is the Rishi of this Upanishad? Who is the Rishi of KaTopanishad?
Yama, right?
Yama Vaivasvata, correct. And Chandas is, it's Yathasthanam. That means it is various Chandas. There is Anushtup, which is like 8 letters per pada times 4. So 32 letter, mantras. There's Trishtup, which is 11 per pada, 11 letters per pada times 4. So 44. So like that, we have different, mostly Trishtup. We have those, the Chandas. And who is the Devata of this Upanishad?
Vamana.
Vamana is the Devata of the Upanishad. And that's why we say Vamanam Madhye. Madhye means in the heart. Vamanam Asinam Vishve Devaha Upasate. So it is also very much related to the next part of this third section that we are going to talk about. What is this mantra saying, and how does that relate to the overall big picture? So we're going to look at that.
Mhm.
Okay, so let me start off by sharing the one good thing is I can share the Upanishad mantras. Let me know when you see the Upanishad. Can you see it?
Yes.
We can. Mhm.
Yeah. So as you can see here, part 1 is actually Adhyaya 1. So first chapter. Canto is third Valli. Canto 3 is Valli 3. So it's a section. So chapter 1 and section 3 is what we were learning, and we were almost complete. There was only a couple of other mantras left. So it's been I think maybe more than a month since we have last met. Due to all this Navaratri and Deepavali and all of those things, the conflicts, we were not able to do it. So and now because of my my uncle passed away, so I cannot go to the temple for the 10 days. So good way to do it, restart virtually. And so in the third Valli is about sadhana, right? Sadhana. What is sadhana means? Sadhana is how, if generally in Sanskrita, there is sadhaka, sadhya, sadhana, kind of a triad. Sadhaka means the one who is, practicing. For example, if you take the example of somebody training for Olympic gold medal, right? So sadhya is that which he is shooting for. His goal is sadhya. That means that person wants to win a gold medal in the Olympics. That is sadhya, right? And then sadhaka is the person that is working to get that sadhya. Sadhana is the whole practice of training oneself so that one is able to achieve the goal, right? So the sadhya is the goal. Sadhaka is the person that is attempting to achieve the goal. And sadhana is the training that's required to achieve the goal, right? So here, in this here, the sadhya is, moksha and paramatma. Sadhaka is the person that wants to achieve moksha. Sadhana is what should he or she do to achieve the goal of moksha. Right? Very simple. Sadhana means what is the training, what should one do to achieve moksha and aparoksha jnana. So that is sadhana. So in this section of the KaTopanishad, it is talking about what does one need to do to achieve moksha. So until now, Yama has not even talked about the third question. Only in a brief that he spoke about a little bit about what Nachiketa answered, because Nachiketa's question. Remember, Nachiketa's question is basically, after moksha, do we really need God? Right? That is the actual, the whole purpose of his question is. And why is that a big question that nobody knows? Because Yama says even the Devatas find it hard to understand that. And usually it is made out to be that, is there a jiva that exists even after the death of the body? Which is a very simple question. That is not what it is. And, like we have discussed all through the Upanishad in the first two sections, the whole point of what Nachiketa's father Uddalaka was doing was to attain heaven, which is only if Jiva is there. And Nachiketa himself actually died and in his vision went to Yamaloka. And the Swarga Agni Vidya that Nachiketa asks about to Yama, all of this presupposes that the Jiva exists even after the death of the body. So Nachiketa going now to Yama and asking him if there is a jiva after there is death of the body is a moot point, because it's already assumed in all of the things he already asks and all of the things that the Upanishad is talking about. So the real question, as we have discussed, the real question is, what is Nachiketa asking? He's saying, is God really needed? Is there a God and jiva relationship after one attains moksha? Now that is a big question. Why? Because when we are in samsara, to achieve moksha, to break the bonds of samsara, to break the constraints of samsara, you need Paramatma. You need the knowledge of Paramatma to break the bonds. Now, once you're outside of it, what is the need of Paramatma? You're already, there's no dukkha. Your dukkha is gone. Your Puranatva, whatever your full self is now fully manifest. Your bliss is fully manifest to you. There is nothing for you to achieve. There is no goal. To a mukta, there is no goal, right? Until moksha, we have various goals. There is no sadhana after moksha. So when there is no sadhana after moksha, because everything is done, you have achieved everything. There's nothing more to be achieved after moksha. So when there is nothing more to be achieved after moksha, do you really need God? Right? That is the whole point of Nachiketa asking this is, what is the relationship between Paramatma and the Jiva once the moksha is achieved? because you don't really need Paramatma after moksha is achieved. So that is a question that is not answered anywhere in any other Upanishad that this Upanishad takes up, right? And then we have seen that Yama says this is not a normal question to be answered. So he wants to test whether this boy is really fit or has the capacity, the yogyata to understand this knowledge. So he tests him, he tempts him with various, boons and gifts. And the boy is, one mind, with one pointed focus and attention, he's only needing the answer to that and nothing else. Even the kingdom of the world that Yama promises him, the boy says, I don't need it because I don't really need it. Right? And that is when Yama is so happy with the boy that he talks about the two choices, right? The preyas and the shreyas choice, and how the bulk of humanity makes the preyas choice, and it's only a few that make the shreyas choice. So Yama picks it up again in the next chapter, where he left off in the last section. But he says it's very few people that really deeply understand this world and its limitations and are very clear about what they need. It's only and so he's very happy to teach him, right? And so he starts off with the teaching. He does not start off by giving the answer of, oh, is there a God really related to the jiva after moksha or not? He starts off with, how should one do sadhana? That's what he starts, and which is what this section is about. How does one do sadhana, right? And he starts off with the karma theory, assumption of a karma theory, which is a beauty. I'll just quickly go through this and come to a part where we have stopped last time. He says, the first one is a big picture of the Antaryami Paramatma in our hearts. He says, Yama says, he is in two forms, the Chaya form and the Tapa form. What is it? Ritam pipantau sukrutasya loke guham pravishtav parame parardhe chaya tapo brahma vido vadanti panchagnayo yecha trinachi ketaha. So the panchagnaya, so those who are doing this sadhana, and Panchagni Vidya, the Panchagni is the ritual, the daily ritual sadhana that they do. What are the Pancha Yajnas? Can anybody tell me what are the Pancha Yajnas? Our 5 duties. What are the Pancha Yajnas?
Deva
Yajna, right?
yeah.
So Deva Yajna is the
Yajna.
Devas need to be fed.
Yeah.
The Devas need to be fed. That is, that is a very important thing, right? That is we have to give, it's a thanksgiving. It's our gratitude, offer of gratitude to the Devas. Again, Devas are none other than the forces of nature. All the forces of nature are the Devata Shaktis, right? It's all the forces of nature. So you need to offer to the forces of nature, right? It could be the offering through fire, right? That's the offering to Yajna fire. The Havis that we offer to the Devatas through mantras, that is the Deva Yajna. What is the next one?
Rishi Yajna.
Rishi Yajna. So Rishi Yajna is what we are doing now, is Rishi Yajna. That means Rishi, the knowledge tradition has come through the unbroken lineage and transmitting that to the next generation, transmitting what we are doing now, teaching and learning. This is a yajna, right? This is what is called as a rishi yajna, right? And the Sanskrita root rishajnane is a root. Risha means to move, but also to know. So this is a knowledge. This is a knowledge yajna. Okay, so deva yajna. Okay, rishi yajna. What is the third one?
Pitru Yajna.
Pitru Yajna, right? Pitru Yajna is what? Is our offering to the Pitru Devatas, not our forefathers, right? They are either reborn or moksha. So we are not offering to our forefathers. We are offering to the deities of the dead. The Pitrus are the deities of the dead, right? And I keep saying, right? So there are two kinds of deities. The two kinds of the deities. What? The Devatas, Indra, Agni, Varuna, all of those are the deities of the living. They are the forces of the nature that control us. But once somebody passes away, then the deities of the dead take over the next journey until they are reborn. They are taken care of by the deities of the dead, which is nothing but Yama, Soma, Aryama. All of these are deities of the. It's also Pitru Gana. So Gana means Gana Devatas means there's a group of deities, and we have studied that in the 10th chapter. So that is the Pitru Yajna is offering to them. It's also doing our part to propagate our kind to the future, right? Begetting kids, passing on culture. All of this comes under Pitru Yajna. So that is 3. What's the 4th?
Buddha Yajna.
Bhuta Yajna. That means our offering to the animals around us, feeding the birds, feeding the animals, and all of those things. It's also a duty. That is also a duty of the householder to offer to the animals around us. So that's called as a Bhuta Yajna. And then 5th one,
Manusha Yajna.
Manusha Yajna. So Manusha is also one kind of Bhuta. Right? It's also another. So, but it's Manusha Yajna is we also have the duty to help our fellow human beings, offer food, and then help them out. All of that is considered as Manusha Yajna. So this is called as the Pancha Yajna. So as people who are part of the society, we are supposed to offer these 5 kinds of offerings to these 5 deities that are there in the various different forms. In nature, we offer through the fire of Homa. For 2 ancestors, which is the Pitru Devatas, we are offering through the Pitru Karmas, and then the propagation of our culture and all of that, our language, culture, and all of that. Rishi Yajna, propagation of the knowledge of the Upanishads and all of that through learning and teaching and all of that. And then Bhuta Yajna is to offer to the deities that are in the animals through offering food to the animals and protecting them. And then Manusha Yajna, all the devatas are also in the Manushas, in human beings, and offering food and help to the other human beings is like quenching their hunger. Those who are within us, the deities that are sitting within us, they'll be quenched by our offering of Manusha Yajna. So these are the Pancha Yajnas, right? So what he's saying is there are 2 forms of Paramatma that is in the heart, everyone's heart, our heart. And what do? They Sukritasya loke pibanto. They experience the joy of the good karmas that we do. So it's not the physical fruit, right? There are 2 kinds of fruit. There's a physical fruit, which is the happiness and the suffering that it's what we call as our karma, right? Our karma phala. That is not, they don't have karma phala, right? But they are Sarabhaga means they have the essence of the ananda, the bliss. Even the God enjoys our good karma. When we do good karma, we are actually feeding God. So sukritasya, see sukrita, not dushkrita. When we do good things, when we do good karma, then we feed the 2 forms of Paramatma that is within us. Right? Sukritasya loke, chaya tapo brahma, guham pravishto parame pararde, who are within us. Chaya tapo brahma vido vadanti. They are said to be, one is chaya. That means for those who do good karma, he is like a shade that protects us. And for those who do dushkarma, he is tapa. That means he burns them. He suffers. He has them suffer their consequences of their actions. Right? Panchagniyota. So this is a big picture of Paramatma is within us. And what we are actually doing in the big pictures through our good actions, we are feeding bliss to Paramatma. And he is the final arbiter of whether we are protected by the knowledge we gain and the good actions we do, or we are burnt by the bad actions and bad karma that we do. Right? That's the big picture. And then he goes on to say, what is the nature of sadhana? Right? And so what is he doing now? What is the first thing he does? What is the nature of sadhana? In sadhana, in our training, what is the first thing we need?
Discipline.
Discipline, right? Sense control. So that is what he's saying. So the sadhana begins with sense control. So there is no sadhana with complete indulgence, and you can do whatever you want, you can enjoy whatever you want. There are schools of thought, right? So not whenever we think of Hinduism, we think as if it's one thing. It's not, right? We all know there are various schools of thought, and there's a school of thought called Ajivika, and I think I mentioned in the previous class. Osho Rajneesh. I think you probably have heard about his name, right? He's no longer there. He's no more. He belonged to that school of Ajivikas. And what Ajivika said, their philosophy is that you got to indulge so that the desire goes away. So for them, it is not the control of the senses. It is kind of let the senses go, because eventually, as they run to wherever they want, it is going to whatever, it is going to what? It is going to tire our indriyas. It's like, the whole point is, if you like something and you start eating, at some point, you feel like you hate it, right? At certain point, it becomes too much. It's too saturated, right? Whatever good thing, like they say in English, they say, right, too much of the good thing. So too much of a good thing is a bad thing.
Cars should be burning up. And
What is that?
already at the hit.
So see, too much of a good thing is a bad thing, right? So the Ajivika school of thought, what they said, that they took this point that no, you don't need any kind of sense control, which is what Osho's philosophy is from Ajivikas. And it's a very ancient school. I mean, even from Buddhist times, there's mention of Ajivikas. He said, you let your senses free, let it do whatever it wants to do. Eventually, it's going to come around. So that is that philosophy of indulgence, right? And it's different from the Charvakas. So Charvakas are kind of hedonists, right? I mean, they are like, there is nothing beyond this life. So for them, what is the point of even sense control or indulgence? It's not about indulgence or control. It is like there is nothing beyond death. So just enjoy life, and then once you die, you're gone, right? And I keep saying their famous philosophy is summarized in this one verse: Yavat jivet, sukham jivet, runam krutva, ghritam pibet, bhasmi bhutasya dehasya, punaragamanam kutaha. Which means as long as you, yavat jivet, sukham jivet, as long as you live happily, enjoy, right? Runam krutva, ghritam pibet means, literally it means take loans, be in debt, and enjoy ghee, which is enjoy even if you have to borrow money and enjoy, right? And it is very similar to what we are doing today. Borrow money and enjoy, right? Runam krutva ghritam pivet. Why? Because bhasmi bhutasya dehasya, this body is going to be in ashes eventually. Punaragamanam kutaha. Where is it coming back? I mean, once the body is gone, we are gone, everything is gone. Whether you have taken a loan, there is no karma, there is no punarjanma, there is nothing. Death is the final moksha. I mean, it's a moksha because, of course, even after death, there is nothing that is alive, that stays after death. So it is like a full, clean slate. So then, see, if that is true, then what Charvaka says is also true. If death is final, then there is no need for anything. But then, what does the Brahma Sutra say? That no, there is jiva that exists after death. But then there is also a point that it makes that, hey, death is not final, because even though the jiva leaves the physical body, he carries the sukshma sharira, which has all the karma, our emotions, and our knowledge. Yatha karma, yatha shrutam is what Yama says later on in the second chapter. So we leave all our physical baggages, but we will carry two baggages. It's what we have done, right? Our samskaras, everything, what we have done and what we have learned. That's the only two small baggage that we carry, right? So that means death is not a finality, because whatever we have done, that moves on from one life to another life. Unless that baggage is lost, nothing is lost, right? When we start next, we are going to start from where we left off now, not with a blank slate, right? All the things that we have done will be the starting point for the next life. So see, look at the way the worldview determines what they think of the sadhana. So for Charvaka, there is no sadhana, because the worldview says that once the physical body dies, nothing survives it. So there is no need for anything. Enjoy your life, because nothing survives your death. Which is true. If that was true, then yeah. The Ajivikas, what do they say? Yeah, there is something survives, but the sadhana is not by discipline. The sadhana is how? By letting your senses free. Because as the horses roam, and then they get tired, and then once they are tired, you can get control of them, leave the senses free, and then once even the things that we desire the most, at some point we will hate it, as once we are saturated by it. But then the point is, the question that's asked by the other, the Uttara Mimamsa commentators is, and one of the Jayatirtha is one of the commentators that asks this question. You like something and you eat a lot, and then your hunger is taken care of. Is that it? So your hunger goes away with one time food? No. You become hungry again and again and again. You become thirsty again and again and again. So just because once you quench your thirst doesn't mean that you're going to be quenched all through, right? Thirst happens again and again and again. Hunger happens again and again and again. Same way, desire happens again and again and again. And as Krishna says in the Gita, desire is anala. Anala means fire in Sanskrita, but etymologically, alam. Alam means what? Enough. Anala means it's never enough. Fire is never enough. If you throw things in the fire, it gets bigger and bigger. You never quench a fire by throwing things in it, right? Because the fire actually gets bigger and bigger. So same way, you quench the thirst of desires. You're actually, the fire of desire is only quenched for a moment. Then the next moment, it comes back even more powerful. You cannot quench the desire by indulging in the desire, right? So that is the difference between what Osho, Ajivika's school of thought says, and what Vedanta and the Upanishads say, right? So they are called heterodox thought. Charvaka, that means they don't follow the Vedic principles. Charvaka doesn't follow it. Ajivikas don't follow it. Bauddha, even the Bauddha school is actually, sadhana is a discipline in Buddhists. Jaina school is also discipline, but they don't follow the Vedic agamas. They have their own agamas, Purushagamas. But in those that do not follow the agamas, the Vedantas, the Ajivikas and the Charvakas are the ones that say that the senses can indulge, right? One as part of sadhana, the other one saying there's no need for sadhana, right? Do you understand this all these nuances?
Yes, sir.
You need to unmute and tell me.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So what does he say? Because and look at the reason. Why do we need sadhana? Because death is not final. Because death does not erase our karmas. Death does not erase all the bad things we have done. So that means you have to deal with bad things. So this is one of the things that, somebody that commits suicide because they cannot handle things, they are not going to have a blank slate next time, right? It is actually going to be even worse, because whatever they were unable to deal now will continue even more worse next time, right? So that is the reason why death is not final. Death does not wipe everything clean, and death is not a solution. Why? Because after that there is our karmas, our sukshma deha, which is basically all our samskaras, what we have done, which is, see, what we have done means the emotions behind that. Now, death is not a solution. Can you please mute? Yeah. So, so death is not a solution, right? So with death, you're not going to lose your karmas. So the emotions, the bad emotions that we have gained through our, bad karmas, the ignorance that we have, nothing is wiped, after death. They all carry, right? What we lose after death is all our physical possessions, including our physical body, is lost. But what we have done and what we have learned will go on in the jiva's journey. So because of that, the only way to lose that baggage of bad karma is what? Through sadhana. So in the Brahma Sutras, in the third adhyaya, which is the sadhana adhyaya, Vedavyasa talks about this. Why do you need sadhana? If death was final, you don't need sadhana. But because of the baggage of karma, because things are not wiped away by death, you need sadhana, because that is the only way to lose our baggage, right? And that is the reason why you need sadhana, right? That should be very clear. Why do you need sadhana? Because we do carry our karma with us, and there is no other way of losing our karma other than sadhana. Okay. Now, so for sadhana, the first thing Yama says is you need the discipline of sense control, right? In yoga, it's called as what? Pratyahara. Pratyahara is sense control. So he gives a model of a chariot, and we'll go through that quickly. Atmanam rathinam, it's not rathitam, it's Atmanam rathinam viddhi, shariram rathamevatu, buddhim tu saratim viddhi, mana pragrahamevacha, indriyani hayanyahur, vishayamsteshu gocharan, atma indriya manoyuktam bhoktetyahur manishinaha. So in the two mantras here, third and fourth mantra, what Yama is saying is, think of the body as going through a journey of life, right? It's a journey through time. And think of the body as a chariot. It's a vehicle, right? And the chariot is what? He's given an example of chariot. The chariot is, in the chariot is the jiva that is sitting in the chariot, and the chariot is yoked to horses that is, pulling the chariot to the destination. And this is what, you can think of it as 5 horses. You can think of it 10 horses, but the pancha indriyas, the jnanendriyas, right? Which means our sense organs, the ears, eyes, the skin for the touch, the tongue and the nose. So these are the 5 sense organs. Those are the 5 indriyas that are likened to horses that are pulling the chariot, which is us, the jiva, who's sitting in. Chariot is the body. So jiva is the one who is resident in the body as the person who's sitting in the chariot, and then the horses, the sense organs are pulling. Just we are going through life pulled by our senses, right? Which is very, very true. Our senses determine what we do and where we go. And then he says, buddhim saratim viddhi manaha pragraham evacha. So now the horses are yoked to the chariot, which is our body, like the eyes and nose and all of those are yoked to the body. But then the reins of the horses, think of the manas, or faculty of the manas, attention, sankalpa, vikalpa, all of that, as the reins that are that are connected to the horses, right? They're yoked to the horses, the reins. Buddhim tu sarthim viddhi. The charioteer is the buddhi. So buddhi is the one that is guiding the senses where they need to go, right? And then indriyani hayan yahuhu, and then vishayamsteshu gocharan. So the sense of touch, the sense of sight, the sense of smell, the sense of taste, the sense of sound, all the senses are the whole, the field of where the horses are running, right? The horses are running through this field, and that field is nothing but the all of the senses. I mean, all of the objects of senses, the sense of touch, the sense of sound, and all of these. So that is what gochara, indriya gochara means, the object of senses, the sensations, basically the sensations, right? And then what does Yama say? Atma indriya mano yuktam bhokta iti ahuhu manishinaha. So the wise ones say what? Know what? We will sense the sensation when the indriya, which is the sense organ, the physical sense, the manas, which is the mind, which is the organ of attention, and the atma are connected together. Then the atma becomes a bhokta. Who has sensation? Do you know who has sensation? Who gets sensation? When you sense sweetness, who is sensing sweetness? Please unmute and tell me the answer.
The tongue. The tongue.
No. Tongue is a sense organ. It is a media.
Yeah.
Sweetness. Who is feeling sweetness?
Manas.
Mind.
No.
Not
Again,
really.
mind is also a media.
The jiva.
Your
Jiva.
jiva
Who
consciousness.
said that? Who said that? Jiva.
Krishna.
Yeah.
So jiva is the one that, see, the sense of sight is felt by jiva. Sweetness, spice, sound, sensation. Sensation is the property of the jiva is to feel the sensation. The indriya is a media that transmits the sensations. Manas is also a media that connects to the indriyas and transmits it. But then it transmits it to the atma, and when the jivatma gets it through the manas, then the jiva can sense it. Right? So what is he saying? Atma, indriya, mana, yukti. Yukti means coming together, joining. When the jiva, the manas, and the indriya join together, how does it join together? That means, so for example, remember the attention span is limited, correct? So now, all along you might be sitting on a chair, but you have never felt the pressure of the chair, right, on your skin. Why? The sense and the object of sense contact is there. But until your mind's attention goes to that, you're not going to feel it, right? So there are so many things happening around us where the sense is contacted with object, right? The air is blowing around us and all of that. We are not aware of everything that the sense is coming in contact with. Why? Because we will only be aware of what the manas connects to. When the manas connects to the eye, we will be aware of sight. When the manas connects to the skin, we will be aware of the touch and the pressure. When the manas connects to the tongue, we will be aware of the taste. Without the manas connecting to the indriya, we know that, right? And everything is not, without having an attention, even when you see, you don't see. Seeing is more a work of the mind than the work of the eyes, right? It's very well known, right? In psychology and all, they know that. Attention is the most one. Attention is what you see. Attention was what you hear. Attention is what you taste, right? So manas is the biggest indriya is manas. Because manas, when manas connects to the indriya, that is when you actually feel and all of that. So the manas is the one that connects the indriya to the jiva. And when that connection happens, then the jiva feels. The indriya doesn't feel. Because why? Because inanimate. Indriya is inanimate. The manas doesn't feel. Why? Because it is inanimate. The only thing that feels has to be conscious entity. Only a conscious entity has a feeling, has a knowledge. Feeling is again knowledge. To know, to feel is to know, right? So that is what is important to know, right? The only entity that can know, it's neither the senses, nor the manas, nor the buddhi, nor anything, but the only entity that can know in this body is jiva, right? So jiva is the one. So what Yama is saying, jiva knows when the manas connects to the indriya, that is what jiva knows. So manas is the biggest. There's a saying, mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. That means that the difference between bandhana and moksha is our manas, our attention. The mind that is not attending, that is not in control, is basically in this model is what? It's the reins of the horse that's not tight, that's not controlling the horses. The horses will go and indulge, and you'll never achieve the destination. Right? So then and the next couple of verses is basically the difference between those who are disciplined sadhakas and those who are asadhakas. And here it says, Yastu avijnanavan bhavati ayuktena manasa sada tasya indriyani avashyani dushta ashvaha iva saratehe. So asadhaka is saying the one who doesn't have the knowledge, what happens to that person? Ayuktena manasa sada, that means that the reins of the horses are not tight. That means the buddhi, the charioteer is not holding that reins of the horses tight. And then what happens? Tasya indriyani, that means all those horses which are our senses, avashyani, they are not in vasha, they are not in the control of the charioteer. So, dushta ashvaha iva saratehe. As if these are wild horses, uncontrolled wild horses. What happens when you yoke wild horses to a chariot? It goes off in the weeds. It's destruction. Right? That means if your senses are not in your control, which means what? Senses will not be in your control if your mind is not in your control. Your mind is not in your control if your buddhi does not have the knowledge of what is important and what is not important in life. Right? I mean, look at senses in control. You cannot directly control the horses. You control the horses with the reins that hold the horses, but the reins are in the hands of the charioteer. The charioteer's buddhi. So your buddhi has to be proper. And buddhi is what? Jnana, right? Your knowledge of right and wrong, what needs to be done, what should not be done. So basically, what determines that? What determines your buddhi? See, buddhi itself is not important, right? In the sense that buddhi has the reins of the horses, but you can also have sadbuddhi. You can also have durbuddhi. So buddhi itself can be two kinds, right? Good buddhi and bad buddhi. So what determines whether the buddhi is good or not?
Memory of past actions.
No,
and
not just
and also learning from past actions.
exactly. Vidya, right? So if you
Vidya.
look at, and Yama talks about that later on. So if you look at, our whole, the makeup of the human beings or any animal anywhere, he starts off with what? Its body, which is panchabhutas. And then then there is 10 indriyas, 5 sense organs, 5 organs of actions, which is the horses here. And then on top of that sits manas, which is the reins. And top of it sits buddhi, which is the charioteer. But what is left unsaid is on top of buddhi sits what? Ahankara.
Right.
Right? Ahankara sits on top of buddhi. What sits on top of ahankara?
Chitta.
Chitta. That is the highest. Right? So chitta you can think of chitta as the experience of the charioteer. Right? Think of an elbowed driver and an experienced driver. So who can control the horse is better, the elbowed driver or experienced driver? Of course, the experienced driver, right? So the driver needs to have the experience to control the horses, to know the techniques, how to control the horses. So basically the experience of the driver is the chitta, which is all left unsaid. But the bhashyas talk about all of that. So that is what is important, right? So what makes the buddhi, the sat buddhi that can control the horses? It is the vidya. So the vidya, the right vidya creates the right kind of ahankara. The right ahankara creates the right kind of buddhi, which is the charioteer, who is who knows what is right and what is wrong. Strong charioteer. The charioteer, when he is strong, can hold the reins tight. That means can control the mind to be one pointed. And once when he can hold the reins tightly, the horses cannot run here and there. They have to be on the road going towards the destination. That is the whole model of sadhana. Right? Beautifully explained. Right? I mean, do you understand that the whole model of sadhana is what? The cause of our problem is our senses. We are misled by our senses. It's the senses that mislead the mind, and it's the mind that mislead the buddhi, and the buddhi destroys, durbuddhi destroys us, just like a weak charioteer destroys the chariot. But what will make this, what is the solution to this? Right vidya, which is the experience of the charioteer, the trained charioteer. The right vidya creates what? An experienced charioteer who can hold the reins tighter, and when the reins are tighter, the horses are in control. Sadashva, which is what he says next. He says, Yastu vijnanavan bhavati yuktena manasa sada tasya indriyani vashyani sadashva iva sarate. He's saying, compared to this scenario, vijnanavan bhavati, that means who has the jnana, which means the jnana is what? In the chitta, who has the right vidya, the right jnana, which means the charioteer is a trained charioteer. He knows how to hold the reins tightly. So when that person is holding it, yuktena manasa sada means holding the reins of the horses tightly. And this, because the reins is the manas, where the manas is one-pointed. The manas is undistracted mind. Having undistracted mind, tasya indriyani vashyani, his senses are always in his control. That means the horses are always going the path in the way that it needs to go, that the charioteer determines is the best way to go. Right? And then Sar Ashva iva saharatehe, as if it is a tame horse. Tame horses following the dictates of the charioteer. That is what a real sadhana is. A real sadhana is when buddhi is strong and the horses are weak. So the opposite way, when the horses are wild and the charioteer is weak, that is indulgence. That is asadhana. Right? So that is what he's saying. And what is the difference between these two? Yastu avijnanavan. Avijnana here and vijnana here. That means vidya and avidya. One who has the vidya has all the information to do the right thing. One who does not have the information to make the charioteer strong. So, did you understand these two? Then he says, okay, what happens when what is the goal of that? What happens when the horses are in your control? What happens when the horses are not in your control? So he says, Yastu vijnanavan bhavati yuktena manasa sada. Yeah, this is done. Yeah. Yastu avijnanavan bhavati amanaskaha sada ashuchihi na tasya tat padam apnoti, nasa tat padam apnoti, samsaram cha adhigacchati. So what is the end goal that happens to somebody who leaves the horses wild, who does not control the horses, or basically who leaves the senses unchecked? What happens? Avijnanavan, that means he doesn't have the knowledge to control the horses. Then ashuchihi, ashuchi means what? unclean because he's indulgent. His emotions, what are the emotions? Whenever the Upanishad talks about unclean, it's talking about our emotions. What are unclean emotions? Anger, jealousy, hatred, all of these are unclean emotions. When that is unclean emotions, what happens? Nasa tatpadam apnoti. He is not going to reach the destination. Samsaram chadi gacchati. He will be wandering around. The horses will never take him in the path to the destination. Right? Look at the contrast. Yastu vijnanavan bhavati. One who has the knowledge, the vidya, samanaskaha sadashuchihi. When the mind is in control, what happens? When the mind is in control, the senses are checked. And when the senses are checked, the emotions are what? It's love, devotion, it's courage. All the good emotions are there in the heart. It's shuchi, right? It's clean emotions are in the heart. Satu tat padam apnoti. He is going to reach that goal, that destination. Yasmat bhuyo na jayate. The destination where when he reaches, there is no birth again. Right? When he reaches a destination where there is no coming back from. So these are the two. Why are you checking? It says you're checking when the horses are in control, they follow the path and they reach the destination. And when you reach the destination, there's no coming back. When the horses are unchecked and they're wild, they'll go here and there and they'll not reach the destination and they'll just always keep wandering, which is basically suffering in this world. Highs and lows and highs and lows, and that's about it. That's what life is going to be. Right? And then he goes on to say, what is the destination? Vijnana saratir yastu manah pragravan naraha. When the trained charioteer who has the vidya, when the charioteer is trained and experienced and the mind is fully in control, the reins are tight, then what happens? Saha advanaha paramapnoti tad vishnoho paramam padam. So what is that final goal? He says he goes, advana is the path. Where is the road that the horses are traveling, taking one to? He says he is going to reach the end of the path that the horses are driving to. And what is that? Vishnoho paramam padam. It is the swarupa of Vishnu. Right? And this is one of the only Upanishads that actually names name. So if you look at all Upanishads, they talk about Atma, which is basically Paramatma, Brahma, and all of that. It's only this Upanishad that says that Parabrahma is nothing but none other than Mahavishnu. So Vishnu is the final goal. And the one who does sadhana, reaches the end goal, which is Vishnu. Okay. Now, I think we are done until 9 at this point, right? Now we'll take up from here. Any questions so far? Anything that you've not understood?
Okay, good.
Good? Okay. Right. So the importance of Vidya, and Vidya, the Vidya is that which leads to Sarathi being strong. A strong Sarathi can hold the reins of the horses, which is the mind in control. The mind in control actually holds the senses in check. And when the senses are in check, that is what the sadhana path is. Right? So this is the sadhana path. But the sadhana is what? Shravana, Manana, Dhyana. So in the sadhana, what is your meditation going to be? Right? And I think I briefly brought up this in the GIA WhatsApp group some time ago. Meditation is not one kind. Just like I said, in Hinduism, sadhana is not the same for everybody. Each of the schools of thought have different sadhana, right? So Uttar Mimamsa has a different sadhana, which is basically what this is. Yoga has a different sadhana. Sankhyas have a different sadhana. Sankhya Yoga go together. Nyaya Vaisheshika have a different sadhana. And Purva Mimamsa has a different sadhana. Buddhas have a different sadhana. Jainas have a different sadhana. Of course, Charvakas indulge, they have no sadhana. Ajivikas, think smaller schools like that, they have their own kind of sadhana, which is like, almost like Charvakas. So there are so many different ways of sadhanas. Same way, meditation is not the same. So, it's a very famous meditation. Actually, the meditation that is popular today is not Vedanta meditation. It is the Buddha meditation. So Buddhist meditation, if you look at what Buddha did, right? Buddha, he went through various different schools, tried to learn from those, and then finally, he realized that none of those work, and then he found out his own way, and what he did was he observed his breath. Basically, that's what he did, right? He just observed his breath, brought his mind again and again back to the breath, and then he became Buddha, right? Buddha Purnima, he became. Buddha is awakened. He became awakened, right? So now if you look at all the mindfulness meditation, the Vipassana meditation, if you look at so many meditation techniques that's available, it's all a variation of meditation of Buddhists. There's no Vedanta anywhere there. And even in, even if you come to the yoga is a different kinds of meditation from the Buddhist meditation. So yoga, but again, what he's talking about, what Yama is talking about here is not even yoga meditation, right? So I'll tell you how to look at it. And if you look at, so Buddhist, was there a question? Is there a question? Okay. So the meditation, if you look at Buddhist meditation, what happens? And again, all of these are effective, but all of this don't take one to the highest level that the Brahma Sutras talk about. So they all stop at a certain level, but that's not the end, right? There's still more left, but they're all good meditations. But you should be aware of to what extent they are effective, right? So if you look at the Buddhist meditation, which is very effective meditation, and because see, there are two kinds, right? There's one where you control, and when one where you let go. So broadly, these are the two kinds of meditation. One where the mind is brought to single pointedness, and and then one is where it is vyapta, right? You just let the mind wander whatever it wants to do, but just focus on without getting into it, right? All of these talks about us not being sucked in by the stories that mind talks about, right? So that's basically what all of these meditations are doing. So in the Buddhist meditation, for example, so you're focusing on breath, right? And then the mind wanders, and you bring the mind to the breath and basically are focusing on that, and then you're not being sucked by. See, the mind always tells you stories. Even 10 seconds, right? Suddenly some thought comes, and you're already 2 minutes inside one story, right? And then you become aware of it, and then you again start to notice your breath and all of that. So that is the meditation. It's very effective. It's it helps to bring the manas in control, the pragraha, the manas in control. That is very, very important. First step. But then what happens in this meditation is you kind of self-realize. You bring the mind under control. You self-realize, but that's it, right? So if you look at the path of this, the journey of this horse that the chariot is going, see, the first one that we deal with is our ahankara. The first destination is our ahankara, right? That means it is what we have built as me, right? My name, my fame, what others think of me, in all of those things is what is ahankara, right? It's our image. Ahankara is our image. So the first destination is our image. So what this helps us do, the Buddhist meditation helps us do, is become aware of our image and break that image. So you'll be aware that, I am doing this because I think this is my image and I want to keep my image. I want to portray myself to others this way. I want others to look at me this way, right? So that is our image. So image is our first destination. So that is broken by this kind of self-realization. Whenever we say self-realization, it's the breaking of our image, and you actually know who you really are, not what the image that you've built up. Right? So that is like, there's an image we have built for others, and there's an image that we have built for ours, like that we are lying to ourselves that we are like this. So all our lies and fake and everything will become very obvious in that kind of meditation, where you go down to the very basic level and you do not listen to those stories. Then you can see through what the mind, because you can see through that the mind is creating all of these stories. It's the image and why you're doing what you're doing. All of those things you become aware so that you can break this image. Right? So ahankara is the first one. Your image. You have to break your image to yourself and to others. Right? So that is what is self-realization. And I have noticed that a lot of these famous schools of meditations from India, and all of that talk about meditation techniques, they stop here because after that, you have to have, a Hindu background to understand next. Right? Otherwise, it is not a general thing that you can sell to everybody. Right? And that's why whenever you say focus on breath and, image and all of that stuff, you can basically sell that to everybody. But then after self-realization, the next step, after ahankara is broken, the next step, when you've realized who you are, the jiva, the next step is Paramatma. Then it is very difficult to sell, because now all of, a lot of things about, what Vedanta talks about comes through. And now you are going to deal with the background, the religion and beliefs and all of those individuals. So you cannot really sell it. So that is where you can see that a lot of these techniques stop at self-realization, and that's about it. Right? So but that is half the deal. The next half is what? To reach. See, our goal is to reach Advanaha paramapnoti tad Vishnoha paramam padam. Our goal is Vishnu, to reach Paramatma, to reach moksha. So for moksha, self-realization is not moksha. It is just half the journey. It's one part of the journey of you've hit the milestone, right? You just hit the milestone, one milestone. Just by hitting milestone, you say, "Oh, I've reached moksha. I've realized myself and all of that." No, that is not true. So what is the next level? What is the next journey? Once it's self-realization to God realization, that is the final journey. So that is what he's going to talk about. Right? So is this clear? See, in the Buddhist meditation, it is all about feeling our sensations, focusing on the breath, focusing on the sensations around the body and all of those things. It's all within the yoga schools and the Buddha schools and all of everything is from Indian schools. But then if you come down to say in the yoga school also, and then mainly in the Vedanta, meditation is visualization. So what you don't see in Buddhism is visualization. In yoga, there is visualization, but that visualization is not visualization of God. So for example, visualization, say, oh, Kundalini is in the bottom, in the Muladhara chakra, and the Kundalini rises. So you're visualizing the Kundalini and all of that stuff. But where is God? There's no God. It is, again, you're all talking about yourself, your body, your Kundalini, your chakra Vedana, and all of those things. Again, it's all very limited. It is all within yourself. That is not Upanishad is not talking about that. It's saying it's all fine. What is next is what Upanishad is talking about. So the two kinds of meditation you can see is the meditation where the whole thing is within oneself, which is Bauddha. Yoga, to a large extent, is also within oneself, even though there is visualization, it is opening of the chakras and all of those things. But Patanjali says, Ishvara pranidhanadva. You can also make your object as Paramatma. So also comes, right? So that is why Brahma Sutra says that is not it. Visualization is the final one. There is no also. That is the final one. So the God meditation is visualization of God is what is the Vedic meditation. And everything else is actually lower to that meditation. So you need to understand this. Because that is not there in the market today, because that is not something that anybody can sell to a audience. So now, but what Yama is saying is, no. You have to actually meditate, and the meditation has to be a visualization in the heart. That's also very important, right? Visualization on the breath is fine. That gives you the control. The mind comes under control. But what is the final? The visualization has to happen in the heart. So the heart visualization is the most important thing. That chakra has to open, right? The heart is the most. All of the chakras have a reflection in the heart chakra. Anahata, everything comes together in the heart chakra. So you have to visualize God within the heart, and then as if you're doing, and in a certain form and all of those things, that focus that you have and the visualization you have, that is Vedic meditation. That comes after the mind is in control and you've broken your image to yourself, your image to the world, everything is broken. And then you can focus your mind on the heart and visualize. They say a lotus that is opened. And then in the middle of the lotus, is the God, in the form of God, and then you're doing worship of the God. Right? That is the meditation of the Vedanta, of the Upanishads. Right? So this you should be very well aware of. Hindu meditation, what is Hindu meditation? I don't know, because there's not one. So there's meditation without visualization, and there's meditation with visualization. Meditation without visualization, whenever you go to a class or something and they're saying focus on the sound, focus on yourself, focus on your touch and all of those things, that is all non-visualized, direct perception based meditation. Basically, it is what? It is to stop your mind's chatter, the mind telling stories. It's a very effective technique. I'm not saying it's not effective. But it's not the final step. So then when the mind is in control, basically it means the horses are in control, because now you can disassociate yourself from the mental chatter, and then you can actually see that the horses are pulling, your senses are pulling you in different directions. You can basically control it, right? But again, that's still in the which one? Pratyahara stage. It is controlling of the senses. But in the dhyana stage, dharana dhyana stage, what happens? In the dhyana stage, you're not meditating on kundalini, you're not meditating on your chakras, you're meditating on the form of Paramatma visualized in the heart. So without the visualization of Paramatma and your connection to Paramatma in your heart, that is not, the meditation is not final meditation. And this one is, so there is a meditation manual by Sri Raghavendra Swami, and he describes his meditation technique, and he is the one, he talks about before entering Ajiva Samadhi. So he enters Samadhi alive, and he says, what I'm going to do in the Samadhi for the next 700 years. I will still be there for 700 years, will not be breathing, will not be doing anything, but I will still be there. And he actually details what meditation he is going to do in the Samadhi. So that is what I'm talking about. His meditation is visualization meditation. He visualizes God, a form of his personal form of God in his heart, and he's doing puja to that form of God. completely absorbed in it so that he doesn't breathe. His body is not functioning, but he's still there, alive. That is a samadhi I'm talking about. So now that is the meditation or dhyana that samadhi is not even dhyana, right? So dhyana is effortless concentration. Samadhi is where the concentration is absorption is so much that your bodily functions also ceases to be in the highest form, right? So that is what it is. So is there a question? So this is very, very important to realize that the Vedic Vedanta meditation is a visualization meditation, and visualization is visualization of God in the heart. There is no other meditation. That is the final, it's considered as the final meditation. Focusing on the breath, focusing on some light in the body, focusing on Kundalini, focusing on some chakra, that is all said to be limited meditation, not the final meditation. So some might say that I went into samadhi in my anahata chakra. It's not the final samadhi unless there is a visualization of God and your connection to God in that samadhi. It's not going to be a final samadhi, right? It's not me saying, it's the Upanishad talking about it. Questions? No question?
Visualization of the Paramatma means I know the Narayaniam, the last chapter, you have the Keshadipadam. Is it what you visualize?
Yeah, I mean, you can visualize, whenever there's a mantra, for example, there's a mantra diksha, right? So every mantra comes with a dhyana, right? So, for example, the Gayatri mantra has a dhyana. Yeyas sada savitru mandala madhyavarti. And if you look at all the dhyanas of these mantras, they are a description of a form. What you're holding in the right hand, what you're holding in the left hand, what you're doing, and all of those things, you can see where you're sitting, what sitting position you are. Basically, it describes an image, right? That's what a dhyana is. A mantra dhyana is a description. For example, Gayatri mantra dhyana is Dhyeyaha Savitru Mandala Madhyavarti. So that means what? In our visualization, when we are doing Gayatri mantra, when we are chanting Gayatri mantra every day, our visualization should visualize Paramatma as being stationed in the sun. So he is sitting in the sun. Savitru Mandala Madhyavarti. So there is Savitru Mandala, the sun. Within the sun, there is Paramatma sitting. Sarasijasana Sannivishtaha. He is sitting in Padmasana. On a Padma, on Padmasana. Right? He's sitting cross-legged in Padmasana. Keyuravan. That means you should imagine that he has all this shoulder jewelry. Keyuravan. Makara Kundalavan. That means Kundala. He has earrings, which is like a crocodile ear. They carry Makara Kundala means crocodile earrings. Kiriti, wearing a crown, a very resplendent crown. Hari, Hara. Hiranmaya Vapuhu. That means his body is shining. And then he only has two hands. It's not four hands Vishnu. Two hands Vishnu. Dhrita, Shanka, Chakraha. So he only holds Shanka and Chakra. So that is your Gayatri visualization. Right? So this is the visualization, that is Dhyana mantra for Gayatri mantra is this one. So when you are doing the chanting of the Gayatri mantra, your mind's visualization should be this form in your heart. So within your heart, there's a lotus that opens up, and on the lotus, in the middle of the lotus, there is the Surya Mandala is there, and in the middle of the Surya Mandala, Paramatma is sitting cross-legged, and then with the he has the Shanka and the Chakra, and then he's resplendent. And then you're offering this prayer to him. So that is a visualization. It is not like, focus on the breath. It is not like you're focused on, the sounds around you. That is not what it is. All Vedic meditations have dhyana. Dhyana means what? The description. There is a visualization factor. So mantra is what we chant. Dhyana is what we visualize in the mind. So every mantra will have, Narayana Ashtakshara will have its own dhyana mantra, dhyana, visualization. Shiva Panchakshari will have, Pancharupi Shiva visualization. Shadakshari will have its own visualization. All of it, Vasudeva Dvadashakshari will have its own visualization. So all of these mantras, it's not just chanting them, the words, but while you are chanting, and again, it's not like day one you can do all of these things, but your goal has to be, while I am chanting, my mind has to visualize the dhyana mantra that this mantra has. The words and the form, they correspond. That is what is important. That is the final dhyana for us, from the Vedic perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So and again, so there's a it's a very it's funny, but it's also sad fact. That we show all the devatas, like holding, like for example, Vishnu is Chaturbhuja, Shankha Chakra, Gada Padma, and all of that stuff, standing there and all of that. So kids will ask, or even everybody will ask, okay, so is God always like that? Is he always sitting like this? Right? No. So what we show in a idol or a picture is a dhyana mantras, the dhyana visualization. It's not like God is always sitting like that. I mean, he's beyond description, but it's not like he's just, there's a joke that is, don't they get tired always holding like this and all of that. So no. You see, all of the idols that we worship, the photos and all of these things that we have, these are the representations of the visualizations that we need to have in the mind for a certain mantra.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? It's not like how that God is like that. No. God needs to be visualized like that when you are chanting that mantra. That is what it is. Right? So people forget that our worship and all of that. When we go to temples, the temple form that is there is a form that we need to visualize when we are chanting a certain mantra. That's it. It's not like the God has to be always like that, or he's always standing like that and all that. No, it's very trivial. I mean, it's funny, but it's also that people are not very clear about why are we having like this?
Yes.
Why are can we not having can we not have a God picture just sitting, or just just show him as a light and all of that? No. A certain mantras have a certain visualization that is needed for the mantra to be fruitful. If you can, when you're doing the Narayana Ashtakshara mantra, if you're not visualizing, if you're just visualizing Narayana just a light, the mantra is not going to fulfill. There is a certain dhyana mantra for Narayana Ashtakshara that has to be visualized for the full fruits to be effective.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. That is very important to understand. That, you can visualize as light, you can visualize as anything, because God is in all forms.
Yeah.
Right? He's formless and also all forms.
Yes.
Right? So, but we need to make sure that a certain mantra is only tied to a certain form. That's it. So that's the visualization.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions? Hey, remember, this is also YouTube live, so people will, they'll thank you for asking the questions, because it will also be questions in their minds. Any other question? Got it. Okay. So we will go to the next mantra. Like I said, now, so all of this started because of the next step in the sadhana is dhyana, right? So now the mind is under control, the senses are brought in control, the mind is focused, the buddhi has the knowledge. Now you have to develop meditation, right? So in sadhana, meditation is one of the steps. There is no sadhana, there is no end of sadhana without meditation. You have to meditate as part of sadhana, right? Meditation is a part of sadhana, right? So you need to, but what do I meditate on? What do I think of? What do I visualize? How do I visualize? In all of that. So that is the next step, right? So that's Yama is talking about the full package now. What should you visualize in your meditation? That is, and again, he's not giving the a form or a certain form, because the form is derived from the mantra. Whichever mantra, if you're doing Narayana Astakshara has its own visualization, form visualization. So you have to do that. But then when you do the visualization of the form in the mind, what should the next step be? Let's say you can hold in your mind the picture of Paramatma of the form described for Narayana Astakshara. Then what happens? So what is meditation? What am I doing in my meditation to that form? Am I just holding that picture, or am I doing something to it? Am I offering something to it? What is my bhava? What am I doing? Right? That isn't it. So what you are doing to the form that you're holding in your mind, that is dhyana. Right? Holding it still is dharana. Dharana means what? In English, it's basically concentration, right? You're trying to hold a picture in your mind, because it's very difficult to hold a certain picture in the mind. It just vanishes away, right? But as you train your mind a lot, the picture, now you can now hold a picture in your mind without being distracted. You can just hold your picture in the mind. And then when you hold the picture in the mind, that you can visualize that you're doing something to it, you're offering something to it. And now, what is that you do in dhyana? So what is Vedic meditation? That is what Yama is going to say now. He's saying, so to do that, what he's doing, he's saying, I've told this many times, right, that in Hinduism, the macrocosm, the universe, and the microcosm, which is us, human beings, they are image of each other. That means what is true in our body is true in the world. What is true in the world is true in the body. That means we are made in the image of the universe, and the universe exists in the image of us. Right? Remember that Yatha Pindande, which is how we are, our image. Tatha Brahmande, the cosmos is in our image. We are in the image of the cosmos. Right? That reflection is there. Which means what? We can know about the universe by knowing about us. How things are within us is how things are in the universe. Especially how the devatas are within us, or how the devatas, the Indra Devata that is outside us causing rain, and who is the king of the world, the three worlds, is also the Indra Devata that is within us, who is the Lord of our hands. Right? So he rules our hands, and then he is the Lord of all the senses and the organs of action within us. Right? So the same way, the Mano Abhimani Devata, the Buddhi Abhimani Devata, the Indriya, the Ahankara Abhimani, the Chitta, and all of those things, the way they are in the body, that is the way they are outside us. So now he is talking about two-pronged, right? It is dhyana. It is also how to control the senses. Both are there. How this control happens? So, and everything starts with the knowledge of the hierarchy of the deities. So all the devatas are not in one level. All the devatas are in a hierarchical level. Right? So now he's telling that all the devatas are in hierarchical level, in a hierarchy, by saying that there is a hierarchy in all the organs that we have in our body. So if you look at what it says in 10th mantra, it says, Indriyebhyah parahi arthaha arthebhyascha param manaha manasastu para buddhihi buddhehe atma mahan paraha mahatah param avyaktam avyaktat purusha paraha purushat na param kinchit sa kashta sa paragatihi. So he's saying there is a hierarchy of the deities, which is very important to understand, to control our senses. Because if we maintain the hierarchy, then we are able to control the senses. If the hierarchy is not maintained, then we are controlled by the senses. Okay. So what is it? It says, Indriyebhyah. So it starts with the Panchabhutas that make the structure of the body. Right? We are made by Panchabhutas. The Panchabhutas are what? Prithvi Tattva, Jala Tattva, Agni Tattva, Vayu Tattva, Akasha Tattva. So these 5 tattvas make the physical body. So this is a structural body, which means what? When we die, the Panchabhutas remain in the body, right? That's because it's a chassis. It's kind of your chassis, right? It's your body is your chassis, your physical body. So that is the Panchabhutas. So what is left unsaid here is the Indriyas, which is the 5, the Jnana Indriyas and the 5 Karma Indriyas. These are greater than the physical body. Why? Because, everything that leads to knowledge is greater than that which does not lead to knowledge. Physical body does not lead to knowledge. So it is at the lowest, right? And then again, the physical body has Panchabhutas have what? The Abhimani Devatas of the Panchabhutas, right? Prithvi Tattva has the Abhimani Devata, Dhara Devi is the Abhimani, right? Then Jala Tattva, Varuna Deva. Agni Tattva, of course, Agni Deva, right? This one, the Vayu Tattva, it is the not the Nasikya Vayu, it's called, I think, Ahankarika Vayu. So Vayu there. And then Akash, who is the Lord of Akasha Tattva?
Ganesha.
Ganesha is the Lord of the Akasha. So that is the hierarchy of the Panchabhutas, right? Who are led by Ganesha. So Ganesha downwards, you have these deities that rule the Panchabhutas. On top of the Panchabhutas comes what? Dasha Indriyas, right? Not Tanmatras. Dasha Indriyas come on top of it. Now, who are the lords of Dasha Indriyas? So what I will do is I will go to our class. If you remember, 10th chapter, we had this one. We had the Excel sheet. Remember the Excel sheet?
Yep.
So
The-
let us go to the Excel sheet.
The dictionary of Bhagavad Gita.
So the Excel sheet will go. Old Excel sheet. Okay. So tell me when you see the Excel sheet.
We see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now you see the hierarchy that I showed you, because that the 10th chapter I was showing, all this, who are all this varied. Whenever we say we have 33 deities or 33 million deities, who are we talking about and all of that? So that is what we are talking about all of this, right? So it all of this until this Gandharvas, Apsaras, Rishiganas, that is the main one. Rishigana is the one, all of them. And then the Manushyas are here. And then we also showed all the the Asuras. The most powerful of the Asura is what? Kali.
Kali.
Right? Is the Lord of the, he also has the lifespan of as a Brahma. Kali does not die until the end. Right? And then Alakshmi. Right? Alakshmi and Mlecha. So the Alakshmi is his wife. So they are together, right? That's the goddess of chaos. She is there in all of this, right? All of the Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, all of this Narakasura. Huh?
So, where is Bali Chakravarti is coming here? Is he
Bali
here?
is Deva.
Deva.
Bali is the next Indra. Just like Prahalada is a Deva, born in the Asura Yoni, but is not really by Swabhava Asura. Right? So let's go there, right? Now, if you see, like all of this, remember we put all of this. Who are the Gandharvas and all of this? So let's see. Mitra, Nirati, Tara. See, Agni is here, right? Agni is here. Varuna is here, right? So this is Agni Tattva. The Pancha, in the Panchabhutas, Agni is one of the Bhutas. He is here. Varuna for the water is here, but he is also for the Lord of the tongue, right? Senses, taste. So he is there. So if you see, let's see, where is, see, the Rudras, Dasha Rudras come here. Not Shiva. Shiva is high, very high. But other than Shiva, there are 10 more that we call Rudra Gana. So that Rudras, that they are here. Right? The Maruts, they are here. All of this, right? The 6 Adityas, the 7 Vasus, all of this. Ganapati is here. See? In the 18th, it's like in the 18th step, you can see Ganesha. You can see Kubera also there. He's the Lord of senses, the sense of this one, sound, Soma Kubera. And then you can see Vishwaksena, right? Vayuputra Vishwaksena. He, remember in the Vishnu Sahasranama, in the Sri Vaishnava tradition, there is a Vishwaksena, mantra is there, shloka is there. So Vishwaksena is also elephant-headed deity, of the Vaikuntha. And he is Vayuputra. So, in the Sri Vaishnava tradition, instead of Ganesha, they offer prayers to Vishwaksena. So that, they're all there. They're all there. And then the Sapta Rishis, Vaivasvata Manu, all of these, Bhrigu Maharishi, all of them are here. Right? So now, Kartikeya and Indra, they are here. Right? Look at Kama. He also incarnated as Brahma's son, Sanat Kumara, and Rudra's son, Kartikeya. Right? He's here, very high. So if you look at, there are some stories about Ganesha and Kartikeya. They're given, Parvati tells them, go around the world or something, and then Kartikeya goes, on peacock and goes around the world, and Ganesha is going around and all of that, which makes that, Kartikeya has no lesser intelligence than Ganesha. But it is actually, if you see Kartikeya, he is the Lord of the mind, he's Kama. He's the Lord. See, our Icha in the mind, when we desire something, it is Kartikeya. Not in the form of Kartikeya. In the form of Kartikeya is courage, right? It's courage. But in the form of desire is Kama. Right? And in a form of Sanat Kumara, what did he do? What is it? No, not that.
Swaminathan.
Huh? Swaminathan, right? So all of the names have history, right? When we say he taught Pranama mantra to Shiva, he is in the form of Sanat Kumara. Right? Kama is a desire in the mind. He is Indra. He's Indra equivalent, and he's considered the general, right? The army general of the Devata army. So they are together. So he's here. So if you look at, where Ganapati comes here, and he's the Lord of Akasha Tattva, the Bhutakasha. But Kartikeya comes here. He is the Lord of Kamana. Right? He is the Lord of desire. He is the Lord of courage. So the mental deities are much higher than the physical deities. That means those who rule the physical part of the world, our body, are lower. The mental part of the body is higher. Right? So because their role in getting knowledge is much more than the physical body. Right? Do you understand that? So Kartikeya comes here. So if you look at, so we were talking about the Pancha Indriya, the 10 Indriyas, right? So 10 Indriyas, first of all, is what? The 10 Indriyas, where we start from where? The ears, right? The sense of sound. Who is the Lord of the ear? Is Chandra. Chandra Kubera. So Kubera is here. You can see Kubera, he is here. He's also the Lord of directions, right? The north direction is Kubera, also Soma. Moon and Kubera, they are the north direction. So the lord of the direction is also the lord of the sound, the lord of hearing, right? So that they are lord of hearing. What is the next one? Sense of touch, right? So who is the lord of that one? The Vayu, right? It's not which one of these Vayus. No, Aham Prana. So I said excluding Aham Prana, it might come somewhere up here. Here, 9. They are here, right? So that the sense of touch, the Lord of sense of touch, that means that deity that provides us that sensation of touch is Aham Vayu, right? So that he is here. Then what comes after this one? Sound, ear, touch, skin, and then what is next? Eyes. Who is the Lord of eyes?
Indra.
I think Indra.
Indra, yeah.
No.
Lot of fights.
Surya.
Indra.
Where is Surya? See, here I said Surya.
Surya.
Is third among the 12 Adityas.
Correct.
First being Vishnu, second is Indra. Okay? Surya. So Surya is the lord of the eyes. So we have Kubera, Chandra. Chandra is here. Kubera. Next is Aham Vayu. Eyes is basically Surya Deva. Then who is the next? The tongue is who? I already told you that. Tongue is
Water.
Varuna. So he was also Jala Tattva Abhimani, is also in the Indriyas. Varuna is also the Abhimani of the tongue. That means our taste comes through Varuna to us. Right? He's the lord of taste. Then next, smell. Who is the lord of smell?
Bhumi.
Who?
Devi.
Lord of smell. I can say they are here in the 18th Kaksha. And they are twins.
Ashwini Kumara?
Ashwini Kumaras, right? Nasatya and Dasra.
No.
The two nostrils, right? Okay. So they give us the sense of smell. So these are pancha jnanendriyas. That means they give us the sensations. Now we also have pancha karmendriyas. So what are the pancha karmendriyas? The voice. Who is the lord of voice? Who's the lord of voice?
Varuna?
Huh?
Varuna?
No. How? Varuna is not a lord of voice. Why Varuna is voice?
You say it is for tongue also, he's Abhimani, no?
Tongue, taste. Tongue not for speech. Tongue has multifunction, right? It's taste and speech. So it is voice, is Agni, right? Remember in Purusha Sukta, where does Agni come from? Chandrama manaso jataha chakshus suryo ajayata mukhad indrascha agnischa. Agni comes from mukha. That is his voice. He's the Lord of voice. Right? In the Paramatma's Purusha form, Agni is created from voice, and so he becomes a Lord of our voice. Right? That's how it is. Purusha Sukta is saying the organ from which the deity is created controls that organ in us. That is the whole point of Purusha Sukta, that part of the third part of the Purusha Sukta. See, Purusha Sukta in Rigveda, 16 mantras. It is divided into 3 parts. First 5 mantras, second 5 mantras, third 5 mantras. In the third 6 mantras. In the third 6 mantras, it is the Katida, Vikalpayan, Mukam, Kimasya, Kau, Bahu, all of that comes, right? So that is the creation. It creation in terms of functionalities. And what is that? That the deity that comes from the organ of the Paramapurusha controls that organ in us. Sun comes from Paramatma's eyes of the Purusha form. So he is the Lord of our eyes. Like that. Did you get it? Now I need to hear some feedback. Otherwise, I don't know whether you're sleeping or you're listening. I don't know.
Yes, Sunil. We are getting it. I'm just contemplating,
Good.
contemplating a lot, trying
Right?
to digest all the information.
Yeah. Okay. So then the pancha, this one, pancha karmendriya, right? 5 organs of action we have. So you can think of nerves for the senses, muscles for actions, right? So it's kind of like that. And one is voice. What is the second one? What is the second indriya? Karmendriya? It is our
Gyanendriya.
hands.
Hands.
Hands,
Like
right? Who's the Lord of hands?
Indra.
Who's that?
Indra.
Indra, right? So Lord of hands. He's also, hands are considered the highest of all the organs, 10 sense organs, right? Because it can close your eyes, close your ears, close your mouth. So, Indra lords over all the senses. He's the Lord, right? So he's the Lord of hands. But also he's also the Lord of the higher functionality of the manas. But he is also the Indriya Devata Indra. So he's the Lord of the Indriyas. So he's Indra, right? So that is Indra. Then next, legs for movement. Who is that? So it's called Indraputra Jayanta. I have to see where he is here. I know he's there. Maybe I should search.
Yeah, it's there. Jayanta and yeah, I see it there.
Right here, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
See here, I put it right. Chantra and Shambhu, Indraputra's ruling feet. See, we have gone through all of this. Is this? Remember, 10th chapter, we did it for like almost like 6 months or something. So we went through all of these things. Everything is captured in the spreadsheet. So you already have that, right? So you see Jayanta and Shambhu, Indraputra's ruling the feet. Okay. Then next, what is the next one? The genitalia, right? So who rules that? Daksha Prajapati. So Daksha Prajapati is somewhere here. Here, where is it?
Yeah, it's there.
Here, right? So
Yeah.
Daksha, right? Daksha Prajapati is the genitalia, right? Upastha, it's called Upastha. Genitalia is Daksha Prajapati. And then excretory organ. Who rules that? He is the Rishi of this Upanishad. Yama. Right? Yama is the Lord of the excretory organ. And he should be somewhere here. Yeah, here, right? One among the Pitru Devata along with Chandra, and also the Abhimani Devata of Payu, which is excretory organ. Right? So now we have, so that means you have the Devatas of the physical structure of the body. On top of them comes the Devata of the Indriyas, the 10 Indriyas. And then Upanishad says, on top of the Indriyas come the Abhimani Devatas of the object of senses, Vishaya Abhimani Devatas. So then it says, the Vishaya Abhimani Devatas, who are those Vishaya Abhimani Devatas? It says, see, it says it is Sauparni, Varuni, Parvati is what it says. So these are Garudapatni, Suparni, Sheshapatni, Varuni, Rudrapatni or Shivapatni, Parvati. So they are the ones that rule all the fields of sensations, all the sensations that we get, the sense of sight, the sense of touch, the sense of sound, the sense of taste, the sense of smell, all of these are ruled by the Devis. Okay. And also, see, Varuni is related to the Deepavali. How? Do you know how Varuni is related to Deepavali? See, Varuni means what? Whose daughter is she?
Varuna.
Exactly. Varuna's daughter is Varuni. But she is the wife of Shesha. Who is that? He's a Shesha Deva, right? He's Naga. So, but Varuni is Varuna Putri. Varuni is the wife, but she's very high compared to Varuna himself. But because she is the goddess of sensation, the object of sense. So that is Varuna Putri, Varuni. Okay. So Suparani is Garuda wife, Suparani. These are all Devis, Suparani. So remember, every phenomenon, everything in the universe has a deity that is the lord of that function. That is the one that causes it to be the way it is, the way it functions. So they are the lord of that function, right? Why is the sense of taste the way it is? That is what the Varuni has, that is the function that Varuni brings in. So that means, see, if you look at science, right? Science treats the world as inert. It is inanimate, it is dead. Vedanta says that it is inanimate, but behind the inanimate, there is an animate force of consciousness that controls that function. We are talking about that. So, sweetness is not Varuni, right? Sweetness is not Varuni. She is the goddess of sweetness, for example, right? Sweetness is a physical thing, but she is the goddess of that. Mind is not Indra. He is the god of the mind. Desire in the mind is not Kama, Kartikeya. He is the god of the desire in the mind. Remember that. So there is a physical phenomenon, which is how the body works, and there's a conscious entity behind the physical phenomenon who control the function of that, and those are they're called Abhimani Devatas. That means their function in this world, why they are brought about in creation, is to control that function in the creation. They control that. So that's their job. So it is what is the job of Indra? So Indra's job is to make the hands functional. Indra's job is to make the mind functional. That is his job. That is, he's the king of all of the Devatas. And all the Devatas are who? All the Devatas are the lords of the gods of sense organs. And the organs are the physical structure. And the organs of the world are the functions of the physical world. For example, Varuna is the lord of the tongue, but he's also the lord of the seas, right? So there is an outer world, there is an inner world. So that, I'm talking about the inner world, but then there is also map to the outer world, right? Varuna rules the Nadi, right? So like that. So you have to understand that. So the science treats the world as inert. So there is a misunderstanding that we treat the world as conscious. No, world is not conscious. World is inert, but behind that, the function of the world, there is a conscious entity that rules that function of the world, that brings about that function. That means, at some point of time in creation, you can think of evolution for example, right? Hand was not there. Then the hand function came about. That is Indra's job to bring the hand function, right? So it is there in the brain. The hand function is to grasp. In Samskrita, they call that as it can fine movements, fine things that can be done only through hand. So that is the hand function. So Indra is the ruler of that function. That was not there, and he brought about in human beings. Or he brought about rain, the rain function of rain in the world brought about by Indra, right? So that is their job. And okay, yeah, what's the question? Okay, so now
would you say, Sunil, that when these Abhimani Devatas When does pralaya happen? When Abhidhamani Devatas are not doing their work properly?
Very, very good question. Yama answers that. I'll take it up there. Okay. Hold on to that question.
Mhm.
It is all in the process of in the dhyana. It comes. See, remember I think you might be in the class. You might have been in the class where I said, see, in the Hinduism, creation is a gradual unraveling or unrolling of the stages, right? It's not really evolution as in the Darwinian sense, but it's also like a cause effect, right? There's a cause that creates an effect, and the effect is a cause for the next. So there's one thing, right? Creation is in the 9 stages. If you go to Bhagavata, so the final stage of creation is the creation of human, right? But if you go beyond that, it says it's Tiryak Srotas, and human is called as the Urdhva Srotas. That means Srotas means your alimentary canal. Urdhva means what? Your alimentary canal is what? The mouth is up and the excretory organ is down, right? So we eat up and excrete down. So that is Urdhva Srotas. But before the Urdhva Srotas, before human came, the previous stage is Tiryak Srotas. Tiryak means side to side. So the alimentary canal is side to side. It eats on side and excretes on the side, right? Side alimentary canal. And then before even that came, Arvak Srotas. Arvak Srotas means down to up. Plants, trees. It eats down and excretes up, right? So remember, the plants have life, and they take food through the roots and all of those things. It is already there, right? If you look at the Sanskrit word for a plant, it is called padapa. Padapa means padaihi pibati iti padapa. That means that which eats from its feet or its roots, or it feeds or it drinks through the fruit, its roots. It's padapa. So it is also called as Arvak Srotas. So Arvak Srotas is when it eats from the bottom and excretes from above, which is the plant world. So the plant world comes first, the animal world side to side comes next, the human world, or where the alimentary canal, where it's stood up, that comes final. So it is an evolution. So it is not like human came first and then the plants were created and no. Evolution, there is an evolution. But if you go behind that, it is, there's a evolution of tamas, as in the physical world, which is made of tamas, right? There's no awareness to the physical world. So physical world is created. When the physical world is created, then from the first creation in the physical world is the world of plants and trees and all of that. And then the world of insects and the animals, and then man, right? So that is the 4 stages. But before that, it says all of the devatas that are going to rule this, that comes later on, they are created first, right? So then first Brahma is created. Mahat Tattva Abhimani, Brahma, Vayu, Prana is created. Then all the devatas, Buddhi Devata is created. Mano Abhimani Devatas are created. Indriya Abhimani Devatas are created. So all of these people that are going to rule, so that means it's kind of like first they create the leaders, and then leaders and for the positions, and then their functions are created in the world. So there is a creation that happens in 9 stages, but the first creation is the creation of the gods, the deities, that will later on going to rule eyes, ears, that will come later on. When the plants are created, then the plants need to be ruled by the devatas for the functionalities, they function. Then when the humans are created, the humans needs the devatas to function, right? I cannot eat without the god helping me, Vayu, the prana Vayu taking the food down, the apana Vayu taking the food, excreting the food, the, udana Vayu, the samana Vayu digesting it, and all of those things. Without the Vayu, there's no function for me. So when the devata is working, I am alive. When the devata leaves me, that function is gone. So the devatas are created first. The man comes later on. So man is the last creation. The 9th stage of creation is man, human.
So I just have one question here.
Yes.
I know it is evolution, right? Is the evolution still ongoing. Maybe there is a newer form of advanced form of human, or maybe there is still new forms may come.
According to the according to the Bhagavata, human is the last one.
Okay.
And if you look at the stories, Brahma creates and he's dissatisfied. All the devatas are dissatisfied. And the Upanishad also talks about that. I think it's Aitareya Upanishad talks about that. Brahma creates animals, and they are, the devatas are dissatisfied because knowledge is not possible in that body. So then he creates various, he creates plants, he creates various animals. The devatas are saying, no, it's inadequate. And then this says the Brahma creates finally human, and the devata says this is complete. Sadhana is possible in this body, and they go in, and therefore the human body is called Pura. See, Pura is also city. Pura is also Purna, complete, right? So until then, all the animals and plant bodies are incomplete because no sadhana is possible in any of the other yonis other than the human form, right?
Okay.
So I mean, leave devatas and all of that. Devatas in the life form in this world, human is the only life form through which sadhana happens. Otherwise, there's no other form. And the Upanishad, Aitareya Upanishad talks about the devatas are saying, this is not Pura, this is not Pura, this is not Pura. When the human is formed, oh, this is Pura, this is Purna. Therefore, this is Pura, and they went into the body of the man to function, make it function.
Okay.
Right? So it doesn't talk about, it talks about human as the final frontier.
Thank you.
Right? So, but before all of that, the devatas comes first. All the devatas that will in the future rule the functionalities in the world, they come first. Right? So that is what we are talking about here. Okay. So now we're talking about, this is the sensations, right? So they were already formed. Suparni, Varuni, Parvati, they were already formed before. Then they took the position, the job of controlling the objects of senses. They became the goddess of objects of senses. Indra was created. The position was created. See, the Indra is a position, and there's an Indra is an individual. The same way Kama is a position, Kama is an individual. So, for example, when we say Indra, and I think I asked one of the in the poll questions, right? So there's so many stories. Indra did this, Indra did that, and all of that. He's continuously is he doing all these mistakes and all of that stuff. And again, that mistake is a story of functioning of the body. It's not a moral mistake of Indra. It is how the body functions, like how mind functions. That's what basically it is. So it's not the same Indra it's talking about, right? When we say the president did this, it's not like there's one president. It's like, oh, okay, which president are you talking about? When we say president, oh, this president, oh, that is, oh, this president did that. Oh, this president did other stuff. So Indra is not, today's Indra is called Purandara. His name, that individual is Purandara. His position is Indra. Right? So like for all of them until Prakriti has no position. But from Brahma downwards, every one of this, from here, from number 3 downwards, every one of this is a position that different individuals come to in different manvantras, in different yugas, in different, all kalpas, and all of that stuff. Right? So when we say Indra, it's not the same person. It is a position that, it might be different Indras, but it's that position.
Got it. So I know I have one more question, but
Yeah, sure.
probably unrelated to this. I don't know
Yes.
if others are interested or not, but in the poll, like when you're talking in the WhatsApp group, so you did mention Krishna was never born, or is something like Vibhuti Tattva or something like that, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
meaning I'd like to get some explanation on it, probably here, or probably we can talk offline as well, whichever.
Sure. Yeah. See, Krishna is never born in a physical body, is what I meant.
Okay.
So, because he is beyond Bhuta Tattva, right? So, these are, it's not like, Krishna's mind was controlled by Indra Deva. No.
Okay.
Krishna's body is Chetana itself. So, there's no,
Okay.
Krishna doesn't have a physical body made of Panchabhutas, the Indriyas, ruled by all the Indriya Abhimani Devatas. No, he's beyond all of that stuff. His
So,
eyes appear like our eyes in the Krishna Avatara, but it is a Chetana. So it is a conscious. There's nothing physical in him, is what I meant.
okay. So you're not talking about Yashoda, Krishna, and all that stuff, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So he is mainly this subject. He is the pure consciousness. That's what you mean.
Correct. His body
Okay.
is is consciousness.
Okay.
Of
Okay.
the
Got
nature of consciousness. Yes. It is
it.
an
Okay.
appearance for us. It appears
Okay.
like a human body. And that's why Manushi Rupam is what he says.
Okay.
It
Got it.
looks, for example, when he is born as a boar in the Varahata Avatara, it is a
Mhm.
boar Rupa, but it is fully conscious. His entity, his the form is a form of is consciousness. There's no
Okay.
physical form for any Avatara.
Okay. Now it explains a lot for me. Yeah, this is a very
Yeah. But
very
now think of
crucial point. Yeah, this is a very important point. Yeah. Now
and
it
Krishna says that this is how you need to understand me, is what he says in the Gita.
okay.
But now think of the stories where the arrow hits his toe and then he's profusely bleeding and all of that stuff. I mean,
Yes.
where is the blood? Where is the injury? It's a leela. It's a play.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it makes more sense to me. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yeah.
but
Okay. So now
thank you.
we were here. So this is the objects of senses, right? And then there is one. This is, remember, how many wives does Krishna have?
I think 9, 10, 10, right? 10?
16,000.
No, not
16,000.
16.
16,108, right, is what they say. But that's not true, right? So 16,100 were the princesses from the various parts of India that were captured by who?
Narakasura.
Narakasura had captured. And look at where Narakasura is. Narakasura should be in the Asura Taratamya. So all the Tamo Yogya Asuras, he's here, right? He's here. Viprachitti, Kalanemi, Madhukaitaba, Hiranyakishpu, Hiranyaksha, all of this, right? Keshi, Simhika. So Rahu's mother is here. So remember, Narkasura is here. So Narkasura is the, basically he's like the Asura of lust. So he's a womanizer, right? So what he did, he went and captured all of the princesses from across India. And I think he's the first recorded harem, right? He had a harem where he had captured 16,100 princesses from all across India, and they were imprisoned there, right? So then what happened during Diwali? What happened? We do Naraka Chaturdashi. What is Naraka Chaturdashi about?
Krishna killed Narakasura.
Krishna
Released,
killed Satyabhama kills Narakas finally. Krishna fought with Narakasura, and then Satyabhama, Bhumi Devi. See, remember, Narakasura is whose son?
Dara Devi's. Oh, Bhumi Devi's.
Right? Bhudevi is whose wife?
Lord
Vishnu.
Vishnu, right?
Varaha.
Vishnu.
Varaha. Correct?
Varaha,
Varaha
right.
form of Vishnu. Bhudevi is Varaha. So, Narakasura is Varaha's son. He's Vishnu's son, but he's Asura, right? So, but he's the kind of the Asura. See, Asuras, just like I said, all the Devatas were created to control the mind and control all the various functions. Asuras are also created to control various functions. See, Mada, Moha, Matsara. When you get hatred, there is an Asura that controls our hatred, that creates hatred in us. When we have Krodha, the Asuras rule Krodha in us. So it is not just, we are in the middle of a great game. The Asuras and Devas are fighting within us and outside us, right? Within us, when they are fighting, when we get angry, the Asura of anger, right? He becomes strong. He kills the Devas. So we are angry, right? When Narakasura, then the lust comes, right? Hiranyakashipu, then greed comes, right? Hiranyaksha, then we have greed and all of those things come, right? So these are also the controllers of the sense organs. But they mislead the sense organs. These are all the bad emotions that we have, that the Asuras control, right? So it is not just the Devatas, the Asuras control everything as well, right? So remember, and one of the things, so it's a side point. So mantra ucharana, they say that there are certain mantras that you should not really chant without being given a diksha and then being trained, which I tell a lot, I've told this a long time ago, and I keep telling this. Vishnu Sahasranama is fine, it's blessed. But then if you self-learn mantras and chant and all of those things and you do apashabdas, then the mantra is actually, see, mantra has a devata and the mantra has a asura. Two of them are there. So when it is not properly done, you are offering the mantra to an asura. Basically, you are going to offer it to these. They have the same names as all the devatas. So if you do Indra mantra and not chant properly and all of those things, then it is going to Indra Namaka Asura, one of these guys. So you're offering to Bakasura. You're offering it to Hiranyakashipu. Right? So that is the reason why just don't go on chanting Rigveda mantras and all of those things, because it is very extreme caution. You should always chant mantras that are for everybody, that has been blessed. Vishnu Sahasranama. Why do I always say Vishnu Sahasranama, Vishnu Sahasranama? Because it has been blessed that, even if you don't chant properly, if you mispronounce and all of those things, it does not go to any asura, which means there is no bad phala of any kind. Right? So it's very important. So even if you say I'm going to offer this to Rudra and chant something, it is going to Rudra Namaka Asura. That is what is going to happen if there is no bhakti, the chanting is not well, you're not done it with proper way. For those mantras that require all of those to be done. Right? And that's why it is said, in Kali Yuga, there is only about 70 odd mantras that are blessed to give fruits. Everything else, you can do whatever you want, it will not be fruitful. But people will not listen, right? I mean, it's like they want to go and learn something on YouTube and this and that. It is actually more than useful. It will hurt. Right? Again, it's everything related to this. There's the same name Asura and the same name Deva that are also controlling the same organs. Eyes have, Surya Namaka Deva, Surya Namaka Asura is one of these Asuras. Again, when we see bad things, that is Devata is even though behind the function is Devata, but the bad things that comes through us is coming through the Asura. Right? So that is the whole kind of that what it is telling us is within us there is a fight of a Deva Asura fight going on every second. They're always fighting within us and outside us. Okay? Any question?
Does Gayatri Mantra count?
The Gayatri Mantra, what do you mean count?
Like,
Should we chant? Yeah, we should chant with Diksha.
what does that mean?
That means you had your Upanayana?
Yeah,
Were you given a Diksha of Gayatri Mantra in the Upanayana?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, then you can chant but you should chant correctly. You should chant with the accents, correct accents, and you should chant with bhakti.
Can anyone chant Gayatri Mantra?
No, it is a Diksha mantra. So when you're doing Jai Jagatisha Hare, you should do Om Bhurvasva in temples. That means they don't know what they're doing. Because it is not a mantra that is chanted loudly.
Mm.
Right? So there are all these things. So let's go back to this one, right? So yeah, I was talking about, right? So Narkasura is the Asura. That is the lord of the lust in us. And historically, he was the one that captured 16,100 princesses from across India. And he was basically, I think, the first one to have a harem of all of these girls in his kingdom. And Krishna went with Satyabhama and then fought with him. And then Satyabhama finally kills him because his vara from Brahma is that he should be killed by his own mother. So Satyabhama, who is also the avatar of Bhudevi, she kills him, right? And then Krishna frees that 16,100 girls from the harem and tells them, you can go back to your kingdoms, you're free to go. But then they say, if we go back, we are not going to be accepted, in back to our kingdoms, because we were part of this harem. So I need to be given some respectability and honor. Then Krishna says, go as my wife. So it is basically Krishna accepting him as their wife is just to give his name to them so that they earn respect back and go back as Krishna's wife and not as those who are in the harem of Narkasura. So Krishna did not have 16,100 wives. They got his name to earn the respect. Okay, so that is something people need to understand. It's not like, but he did have 8 wives, but it's all forms of Lakshmi. So we know 2. What are those 2? Rukmini, not Rukmini, Rukmini, Satyabhama. We know those 2. Correct? Then what are the other 6? Neela Devi, Durga, right? Neela Devi, Bhadra Devi, Mitravinda, Kalindi, Lakshana, Jambavati. We know Jambavati also, Ganesha festival. We read the Sevantaka Upakhyana story, the Jambavanta's daughter. So he gives his daughter in marriage to Krishna. So she is also a form of Lakshmi. Right? So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 forms of Lakshmi. So 6 plus 2. So 8 forms of Lakshmi, Ashtalakshmi form. That is Krishna's wives. But it's all one. But it is in 8 forms, right? Nila Devi is kind of Durga. Nila is the Durga. Right? So now the question, controversial question, where is Radha in this? Radha is not there in any of the Puranas.
The bhakti form of Krishna.
No, see, some say it is Neela. Basically, Radha name is not there anywhere. It starts with Jayadeva, Gita Govinda, a character in Jayadeva. But Neela Devi was related to Krishna in Vrindavana, and so that, and because she is the wife, maybe that is what in Gita Govinda Jayadeva was thinking of for Radha, but she's not a lover, she's a wife, right? So she's so if we assume that Radha is Neela Devi, so better to call Neela Devi because that is the Purana given name. So Rukmini, Satyabhama, Neela, Bhadra, Mitravinda, Kalindi, Lakshana, Jambavati. So these are 8 Ashtamahishis. They're called Ashtamahishis. Right? So whenever somebody says, how many wives Krishna has? One wife. Krishna only has Prakriti. And she comes in 8 forms. And that is Ashtamahishi. Right? 8. Good. So above this is who? Above the objects of senses, you get Garuda, Shesha, Rudra. Mano Abhimani Devatas, right? Manas, Ahankara, Manas, everything. Rudra is also Ahankara, Abhimani. All the three are Manas and Ahankara, Abhimani Devatas. Garuda, Shesha, Rudra. Rudra here is Shiva. Not the Rudra Ganas. The Rudra Ganas are down here. But this is Shiva, the 11th one, Maheshwara, they say, right? So that Shiva, that is the Ahankara Abhimani, Mano Abhimani Devata, just same with Garuda, same with Shesha. Okay. Above them is the Chitta Abhimani Devi, which is Saraswati, which, why, remember, Vidya, Chitta Vidya, remember, the charioteer needs to be trained. The buddhi needs to be trained, and that is Saraswati Bharati. Saraswati is a Brahma Patni Saraswati, the Prana Patni Bharati. So they're the same, with a wife of Prana, wife of Brahma. So we basically Vidya Devi, and both are Vidya Devis, right? And finally, the Abhimani Devata, the Jiva Kala Abhimani Devata is Chaturmukha Brahma, right? His Mahat Tattva Abhimani Devata and Prana, the life force that goes in the body. So that is, they are the highest. He is the creator, right? And the God of life, the life force, the chi, everything is Pradhana Vayu, Mukhya Prana. And then the creator Brahma, Hiranyagarbha Brahma. So that he is the highest of all the devatas. Then Vidya Devi. For all of them, Vidya is Saraswati Bharati. Then Ahankara Abhimani Devatas. Then you have the Buddhi and the Indriya, Vishaya Abhimani Devatas. And then Mano Abhimani Devata and Indriya Pradhana Devata. And then all the Indriya Devatas, right? So what it is saying, that these Devatas are not same. Indra is not the same as the other one. They are a hierarchy. So let me ask this question. I don't know if Karthik is here. So in terms of, there's a lot of chat here. Hold on, let me see what's going on here. Okay, it's already asked. Is it possible to share? Okay, so Karthik, are you there?
No, Karthik seems to have left.
Karthik Mandir, okay.
Yeah.
So in Jyotisha, see in Deepavali, what happens? I said sun enters the, or it is the Tula, right? When in the Tula Rashi, the Amavasya. So Tula is what? Tula is basically equality, right? So Tula is where Shani is exalted, right? When Shani comes to Tula, it's very powerful. Shani is like the lower class, like it's kind of like the when we say the population, right? That is it's all the same. So Tula is basically everybody is same in Tula Rashi, right? So sun is Nicha there. Sun is the king. So the king, and everybody is the same. King has no worth. Like for example, in democracy is Tula Rashi. There's no king in that, right? In that sense, right? But then what is opposite to the Tula Rashi? See, and I need people who know some Jyotisha there. That's why I was asking for. So opposite is Mesha Rashi, right? Mesha Rashi is hierarchy. So Mesha Rashi is king. Sun becomes exalted, in April, right? In April 14th, when sun enters Mesha, for the Sauramana Yugadi, the new year, sun is the exaltation. That means what? The king is powerful in a hierarchical structure. King comes up, and then the Shani or the rest of humanity is down, right? Actually, in Vedanta, hierarchy is the actual structure. Equality is not, right? So again, it is not that there shouldn't be equality. There's no equality. I mean, inequality is the nature of creation, right? So that is there. So what it is saying is the same way all our internal organs are in hierarchical structure. When that which is below goes, for example, when Shani, let's say, not Shani, but we'll say, when Indra Deva, who rules the Indriyas, the senses, goes and sits on the throne of Brahma, that doesn't happen. I'm just giving you this one. Or not even that. When Indra sits in the throne of the charioteer, then what happens? What it is saying is a charioteer is higher than the horse. Horse should be less powerful, weaker than the charioteer. Charioteer should always be powerful. Then the reins should be tight and the horses should be weak and tame. That is a hierarchy. First comes the buddhi, then comes the reins, then comes the horses. When horses are wild, the horses are more powerful than the charioteer. When horses are tame, the charioteer is more powerful than the horses. Right? So that is the hierarchy and mishierarchy. Right? So you need to have a leader and the follower in that order. When the follower becomes more powerful than the leader, sadhana is not possible. When the leader leads and is able to tame the follower, then the sadhana is possible in the hierarchical structure of us. That means when we are moving around in the world, the senses are always in touch, right? We are seeing, we are hearing, we are smelling. So they are the ones that pressure us to do things. But then on top of it, we have manas. On top of it, we have buddhi. And then the buddhi is telling us, well, can we do this? Can we not do this? But sense can pressure us to choose the wrong thing. So buddhi can. So when we take a wrong decision, what happens? That means the wild horse is more powerful than our charioteer. Right? The same way, vidya should be the most powerful. Right? Vidya is one. The Cheta, the Brahma, Vayu, that is most powerful. Then Ahankara. So the Ahankara should be powerful. That means a sense of righteousness. Our image as a righteous person should be powerful. Then that creates a powerful charioteer. That creates a powerful mind that is in control. Powerful mind keeps the senses in check in that order. So if it is top down, then there is sadhana. If it is bottom up, there is no sadhana. Right? So that is very, very important to understand, that you have to have this hierarchy in its position, each one in its position to be powerful than the one below it, to understand that not just for sadhana, but also for meditation. Right? It's 1 o'clock, so we'll stop at this point, and I'll go through the meditation part next time. But until now, has there been any questions so far? Anything about any of the things we have discussed today?
There's one thing that I would like you to address next time,
Yes.
Sunil, is when you were talking about the Diksha mantras. I mean, we just recently, yesterday, chanted the Maharudram, right? So what worried me is that's the Diksha mantra, right? And so it is said so fast. We are more after quantity than quality.
See, and
So
that is the thing. And I'll tell you very honestly, okay? So for some reason within our community, some knowledge has come that, we should chant everything, which is not correct. You should be trained to chant these things, right? Because you'll have apashabdas, you'll have a lot of these things. Why chant all of this? Why take one, chant that? Why, you want to chant all the Vedic suktas and all of that stuff? You don't need to do that, because it's kind of like, trying to take a powerful weapon without any instructions. It is going to hurt more than help. Right? So, there are mantras that, like Om Namah Shivaya is the mantra that is given. There is nothing wrong in that. Right? So do that. Why do Shiva Shadakshari, do Panchakshari? Why do you want to do Rudram self-taught? You need to, it is very, it's very difficult to tell, because that understanding is, I can just learn all of these mantras and chant when, the Purohits are chanting. Of course, even they are chanting wrong sometimes. So the training has to be there. It has to come from a proper source. That is when it comes through, right? For example, Rudram, of course, Rudram, I don't know if you were there, Krishnan, that, we had, I don't know when it was, I think during COVID, when we had
I
Raghuram,
missed all of that. Those 3 years.
Yeah, you were there, right?
No, I was away because I was so far away in Asia and Kuala Lumpur. I couldn't join many of the calls because it was
okay. Yeah.
too late for me, past midnight on
Yes.
Sunday night.
Yeah. So we did have that. We did have the training through him. So I mean, there are almost like 40-45 people joined. To learn that. But again, yeah. So we were trained that way. But again, the train and practice. You have to practice, and then pronunciation. Right. You need to make sure that you pronounce these things correctly. The swaras are correct. See, Yajurveda swaras are different from Rigveda swaras. And Rudram is a Yajurveda mantra. So that kind of swara you have to follow. So you have to be very careful when you're chanting, these kinds of Vedic mantras.
Yes.
Instead of just use a very simple. See, the thing is,
I'm learning from a guru. However, I mean the confirmation, right? That are we chanting well? Somebody needs to listen and qualify. So you need a lot of verification of who is doing it right, to get the right group together, to get blessings for the community as a whole, right? Individual and community blessings. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that is needed. But like I said, Vishnu Sahasranama, anybody can do. So, and it's kind of like simple is more powerful than more complicated. That's how in Kali Yuga, that's how it is, right? I mean, why did Bhishma give all of this in the end of, before he died, he gave Vishnu Sahasranama. Why? Because humanity needs it, right? So if you look at the Vishnu Sahasranama, what? Kim ekam daivatam loke, kim vapekam parayanam, right? So all of this we have done till now. So what is the greatest do you say? Right, Yudhishthira has asked all the questions. So finally he says, tell me that one thing which is greatest than everything. He says, do Vishnu Sahasranama. So that is already given. So I think you can do other things, but give prominence to Vishnu Sahasranama.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, then we will meet next time and complete the dhyana portion. And if there's any questions, you can share that on GIA, the open forum, and then I will answer it, or we can have a discussion on those. Okay. So, Om Vasudeva
Thank you so much.
Devam Kamsacharo Ramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum Om Tatsat. Okay then.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sunil.